All right. Yeah, this has been a long time coming. Maybe not so much for anybody who's not in the know. This is a little bit of an older reference. But today, I don't know if it's the Ruby Classic or the Ruby Invitational. I forget either one. But Mr. Dale Chance is competing, so that's the plan for later tonight to go down and show some freaking support for arguably, one of the top dog misfit maniacs. I mean, let's be real. That's not even an argument, right? That's just a statement. But no, it's freaking hot. I'm used to like 50 humidity. I don't know, maybe 20% normal. So it's freaking hot down here. I think it's already like 90. Nah, it's not 90, but like 80, humid. I should have worn my like below the knee basketball shorts instead of pants. I kind of forgot to adjust for the weather change. But this is going to be a badass chest day. 30 minutes of cardio already complete at the hotel gym, which was pretty freaking sparse. I mean, I've been to the craziest hotel gym ever was, I think it's the Fountain Blue in Vegas that me and Mark were at once, because we went for a slap fight event, or a slap box event. I forget the exact name. But the gym was like a full-on legit gym, like actual training center, racks, dumbbells, machines, like legit. Like it was just as though there was a freaking gym on that floor. But this one was just cardio bikes, or no, a cardio bike. A cardio bike, treadmills, and then a couple dumbbells, like not even, up to 40. So I was thinking to myself, as I was doing cardio in there, I'm like, I like to think that I could just get a workout anywhere. Like I like to think I could just kill it with nothing, like with scraps. Like you give me a paper clip and somehow I can turn that into a chest pump. But I'm glad I didn't have to hit a lift in there. I had already worked out before, so now I think we're headed to what I'm not sure if this is a historic LA Fitness that I've seen in videos before. And I think this is my first time in an LA Fitness ever. I've seen videos, like, it seems like a normal gym, so I think it'll be good. And then I ate a bunch of trash on the at the airport. Like, not trash, but like two of those pre-made subs. The thing was like 500 calories, like each. Like 25 grams of fat, 50 of carbs. The protein, honestly, was probably negligible, just because it's like scrappy deli protein. But, what are you going to do? I ended up eating something. So I did extra cardio last night, because I did a little lift in the morning and then cardio at night. So instead of doing 30 minutes, I busted out a quick hour. I think I'm going to up my cardio game a little bit going forward. Not to 2 hours a day, but I think, and maybe this is like I've trained myself up to it, but at least trying to get extra lean, I think 30 minutes isn't going to cut it. So I'm at least going to up it to maybe 35 minutes in the morning and then 15 minutes post-workout. And then I'll adjust from there. I think an hour in the morning and an hour post-workout, like I was doing for about a month and a half earlier this year, was a little too much. That was a little bit overreaching with like the calorie burning. So I think I'll find the sweet spot and balance it out there. But you're definitely going to have a much easier time with the whole fat burning process if your daily energy expenditure and your actual like activity level is solid. I think I'd have a much harder time trying to diet down and lose body fat if I didn't have a badass workout every day plus cardio. Because it's not just energy, like it's not just doing an activity, like it is physically burning through your internal energy stores. So I kind of like to think that it's like having a hot fire, like I'm this oven full of coals. I got to eat a certain amount every day, so you keep tending the fire. But if it's burning hot and it keeps pumping out heat, which would be working out, cardio, moving around, well then it's going to eat through all the coals you feed it faster. And that's just going to, make it seem like an easier process. So that's a little bit of a bro sciencey way to think about it. But, I don't see the problem in that. There's a weird hyper analytical explanatory, like you know, it doesn't have to be so complicated all the time. I think it's good for, you know, explaining and understanding things, but at the end of the day, the guys who get gains and look like they work out hard, they care about their diet, they're consistent. You know, everything else kind of falls under that umbrella. But yeah, the plaza at Delray. So let's get started. All right.
You.
Here
we go. Drive that shit. Yeah.
Got one more.
Yep. Here we go. Come on. Drive.
Oh my gosh.
Shit.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, one more.
Okay. Oh my gosh. That's enough of that. Thank you.
Tough.
All right, this cable press will be good. A little more squeezing, pumpish. Okay. Okay. One more like that. Okay. Let's switch to a fly. Okay. All right, I think I have a good idea for the finisher. I can't go a little heavier than that. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's all. I feel like if I hide in the corner, nobody will get mad for a shirtless pose down. But if people do, you're in the wrong. So put that shit back on and, you know, don't cause a fuss. Alright, that's solid. But I don't want to get in trouble. I've never been here. So let's get back in the car and get out of here. Alright. Yeah, so for any maniacs who recognize this gym, it's a little different, you know, because Andrew isn't filming. You know, mind the if you know, you know kind of deal. But that was good. So the whole point, I mean, not the whole point, but this Ruby is going to be extra fun because it's in remembrance of a certain Leonard who was, I mean, you know, let's be real, pretty crazy to some, but he honestly dropped a ton of at least motivational wisdom, right? I'd say probably the coiner of being anti-cookie cutter. So, you know, that's essentially just meaning, you know, don't just do what everybody else does because everybody else does it. Because it's like, you know, then you're not living your own life. You're more so just going along the beaten path, you know. And I don't think anybody wants to do that. All right, like we want to do our own things because we want to do them. I think I like the idea of having a very specific goal or a specific activity that I like to do because I want to do it for me, not because it's like a flex or it's like something to be shown off or like, you know, it's I think some things are objectively cool, but you can catch yourself in a weird mentality. I'm not saying you, but like people where, you know, you maybe might think like, okay, if I do this one thing or if I get this thing or if I can be in this place or if I go and I meet these people, then I'll be cool. Then I will be whatever. And in like a very deep way, maybe thinking like, you know, then I'll be happy. Like then I'll be happy with myself. And I don't know, I just don't like the setup, you know, because extrapolate that to a little bit longer. Well, shit, man, let's say you do get that job. You do that bodybuilding competition. You whatever. Well, there's a world after that, you know. So when I'm thinking of like goal setting, goal achieving, I'm not as concerned about any particular end state. It's more so just having a goal of like improvement, you know. Like I don't think any kind of, well, I wouldn't really know, but like I would imagine that if you're like a crazy ass hedge fund manager guy, it's not necessarily that you care about reaching a certain number. If you're managing this whole kind of crazy portfolio, you're just worried about like, okay, am I making incremental progress? Now that's, you know, just money, like scaling and different kind of investments. But in terms of like lifting or, you know, getting bigger or leaner, it's not about an end point because there's more after that anyway. So if I'm in a dieting phase like I am now, you know, for the next 4 or 5 months, I want to make sure I'm doing everything that I know is putting me closer towards that end goal. 20 minutes of cardio post-workout. 30 minutes of cardio this morning. You know, I'm going to go, I got some canned chicken in the hotel room. I'm going to go slam. And I'm tracking all my calories, where even if I do eat a little bit extra one day, well, I'm still tracked it and I know how that rebound is going to affect my scale weight. And it's, you know, it's all kind of just part of the journey, right? I got some, yeah, this is kind of stupid. So I still have one more trip before I can actually chill, because I ordered some groceries so that when I got to the hotel last night, they'd already be there. I had like some canned chicken, a couple zero sugar Gatorades, and I realized I didn't pack underwear. I had everything else. So I'm like, all right, shit, well, that's not going to work. And I get all this stuff from Walgreens, and I'm like, oh, sweet, yeah, 10-pack of men's underwear. Nice. Doesn't matter what it is. Click. And then I look at it, and I unfold one, and I open it up, and I realize that wasn't 10 pairs of regular-ass guys' underwear. That was 10 male adult diapers. So I open this up, and I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? So I gotta make one more pit stop. I remembered I got everything else, socks and shoes and pants or whatever, but yeah, I must have, that means in my freaking closet I've got just a stack where it eluded my suitcase. But no, plan now is just stick with it. Don't let myself eat too much, which, I mean, you know, as simple as that sounds, it is a little bit of an active inactivity. Like, I'm not just going all day thinking, man, I'm not even hungry at all. So it is like something to be mindful of, where you know, maybe you walk past the front desk or somewhere and there's a Tootsie Pop, or there's like little bits of whatever. I mean, I know there definitely was on Halloween a couple days ago. So, right, how easy is it to grab 2 of those? Boom, 80 calories right there, like nothing. You didn't even notice. And then 2 hours later, maybe you walk past the same thing. Another 80 calories. Boom. Maybe you reach into the cupboard, you grab a couple of chips. It's just a couple chips. I don't have to count them. 300 calories, like nothing. That could be 500 calories over your intended intake, and now that day, progress was not made. You didn't screw yourself. Like, you can't ruin a diet in one day, but you can definitely have days that didn't really help if you're not on it with your regular calorie intake. You know what I'm saying? So that's, just be mindful, right? And my easiest or my best trick for that is saving some calories for later in the day. I know I can go until like noonish and I don't have to slam a ton of food. Like, I can have a small breakfast, I can have like you know, more of a protein heavy kind of meal, and I can save more of my carb and fat intake for later. Because for me, it's tricky to go to bed on an empty stomach. I think for everybody, it's probably tricky to go to bed on an empty stomach. So that makes it where if I can save calories for later, eat something, and then go to bed, well, sweet, you know? So if you're the kind of guy where maybe, I know some people love to say like, oh, well, you can't eat before you, like, you can't eat 3 hours before you go to sleep. Like, that's their logic. And I mean, I'm sure I'm not saying that's inherently wrong. I don't mind eating a big meal before bed, just because for me, I still feel pretty well rested afterward. But if that's your thing and you're like, dude, I'm not eating past 6 o'clock, well, I guess you can start eating a little earlier in the day then, you know? So it's all just, in at least some level, a little bit of personal preference. So that's where, getting back to the cookie cutter analogy, you know, don't just look for the answer. Don't just look for a cutout like routine that sounds perfect, right? Because I think in fitness, dieting, training, oftentimes if something seems too good to be true, it usually is. Like, the best diets are the ones that are kind of freaking hard. The best cardio routines are the ones where you just do it and there's nothing fancy about it. Like, you know, somebody could make an Instagram short or an Instagram reel and say, you can get 30 minutes of cardio, you can get the benefits of 30 minutes of cardio in just 3 minutes with this simple high intensity training trick. I'm not so sure, man. You know, I'm not so freaking sure. But that's, you know, that's your own journey to embark on and to either uncover or potentially, you know, continue to be fooled by for however long it takes. You know, I know there's a lot of guys who still think a lot of old school just jargon that gets said and circulated because it sounds right. But then again, how much does it matter if the guy is making the progress that he wants? You know, if a guy has a training routine where in his mind he's like, this is my toning workout, this is my toning chest day, this is my whatever, you know, maybe it's not something that we might say is like totally accurate, but the guy's making solid results, and his version of like his logic about training works for him, well, then I wouldn't say that's wrong. Like you can have a discussion and maybe kind of go back and forth about like different preferences, but there's a couple angles when it comes to debating different kind of training styles, and I think it's not negligible to take someone's relative progress into account. Just because you're big doesn't mean you're smart, but at least it means you're probably training, right? And that's within reason. Obviously there's like 350 pounders out there, that's whatever. So just something where I don't think working out needs to be an on paper debate. Like this, you should do things that are undebatable, right? I think that was an undebatable pump, and I'd like to think that I had undebatable effort on at least most of those heavier sets. Sometimes on the squeezing sets it's just for a burn, like you're getting activation, and then you take a second and do it again. But the more you can do things where it's like there's not really an argument, you went hard, you made some shit happen, no matter how high level or whatever you may perceive it as, well then shit, man, you're good. Because at the end of the day, in anything, right, results are going to end up speaking for themselves. So just I don't even want to talk about it. Like, all I want to talk about is go hard, get a pump, and make your gains and count your calories and do your cardio. So actually I've got a couple. Let me kind of count that back to myself. Go hard, get a pump, count your calories, do your cardio. Yeah, that's pretty much. Be consistent, but that kind of, I think that already counts with the going hard. So those are my 4 things. Those are the four tenets of the Sulik method. Go hard, get a pump, count your calories, and do your cardio. If you got those 4 things down this year, going into next year, and the year after that, well, I think you're going to have to make a couple trips to either, I guess wherever, because you're going to need some new shirts, because your shoulders are going to broaden. You're going to have trouble fitting into jeans. You're going to end up like me, where you basically find a pair of jeans that fit, and then those are your jeans until you wear them out, until they tear. I've had that happen a couple times so far, and it sucks because, like, a shirt with holes in it is kind of like cool, grungy, cool, but jeans with holes in them, and I'm not talking like holes at the knee, I'm talking like holes like at the butt, like in the middle, like that just doesn't fly. That's not going to work. So a very good problem to have, I feel. But I'm going to enjoy the heat for these next couple of days. Yeah, it's not going to look like this when I get back to Ohio, that's for freaking sure. But if you head over to if you're around, because this is the day of, like, I'm going to go back to the hotel and post this like in like 30 minutes. So I just finished that workout at that LA Fitness, like, probably by the time I post this, like 2 hours ago or so. But yeah, I would highly recommend, if you're around, to come check out the Ruby. I think it's not the Ruby Classic, I looked it up, the Ruby Championship. That is if you're around, right? 5 o'clock. So actually, I don't think a lot of people could even get that message and then act on it, because this video is probably only going to get posted at like 4. So that's like an hour of time. But hey, maybe somebody, anybody hanging out in Boca or Delray, and you got the day to kill, I'd say come check it out. Especially if you've never been to a bodybuilding show before, because they're just fun. They're just freaking fun. But oh man, you know what I should have done? I should have tried to schedule in a charter boat, like a really early kind of, like a little 2-hour, 3-hour kind of fishing sort of thing. I'm not talking deep sea, but fishing is just freaking fun, especially when the fish are cool like they are down here in Florida. But yeah, that's all I got. Awesome pump. Crazy actually being in that gym. I've only ever seen it in videos before. Not that it's like a Gold's, but it's just kind of cool for me, because I've seen that gym in older videos that I've been watching for freaking ever. But I'm gonna enjoy the heat. Go eat something, and then I'll see you for I don't know what I'll see you for tomorrow. either a back day. I think a back day. Yeah, I'll see. But either way, I'll see you then.